Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Stream Scene episode 17, focusing on streamer fitness and health with three awesome experts here. But first, I want to say hi to my co-host, the Hunter Wild. How's it going, Hunter?
Hi, Loco. It's pretty fantastic. Though a lot of you know this about me. I'm really exceptionally excited for today's show because of the role that fitness and diet and health has been playing in my life over the last several months. And it's something that I really want to emphasize and really want to bring to the fore. So I am totally ready for notes today. I am absolutely excited. I'm about to the max for today's show. So yeah, I'm doing really well. We do have three fantastic, and I'll note in case it's somehow you got your eyes closed, beautiful human beings with us today on the show. Tom, let's start with you. What are you about?
Thank you, Hunter, and thank you, Loco, for having me here. I am Tom from TominationTime. I run a fitness live stream where I do weightlifting with diet and fitness Q&A, motivational talk show, and I try to help beginners get started, whether it is you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to gain weight, or you want to figure out how to navigate the many different training programs and diets out there, because you can make any diet or any workout plan work for you. I go over the basics about how you can figure out how to make that work for you. So that's what I'm about.
And that's at twitch.tv/TominationTime.
Correct. That's exactly right.
Okay. And what about you guys?
Hey, we're Nicole, Tim. We're a married couple, part of Heroes of Fitness, and we stream on Twitch. I would say for us, a big proponent of our stream since the beginning has been incorporating exercise breaks into our gameplay, along with doing some cooking and meal prep streams, but showing gamers how you don't have to go to the gym. You can do it at home because a lot of people feel intimidated to go to the gym. So just giving people a variety of ideas for what they can do at home.
There's always a next level you can take anything to, but we try to focus on the early big wins people can take away. And for us, that's showing people that you can actually, between matches, get up from your computer and start moving around, start taking care of yourself, and basically developing better habits surrounding exercise, food, and just kind of how you treat your body in general.
Yeah, and then along with streaming, we also work with a number of big streamers, including Day9 TV. He's one of our biggest content creator clients, along with a number of other streamers. And then we're really excited. We're going to be starting to work with some pro players in the esports scene, particularly with Heroes Hearth Esports. It was just announced that we partnered with them. So we're going to be working with their Heroes of the Storm team, and we're really excited.
That's so exciting.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrats.
We're super pumped because it's something that's not really established in the industry, just like streaming. You know, it's kind of, there's a lot to share, as I'm sure.
It's a new frontier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you guys have a very interesting concept, and it's that, like, coming out with workouts and ways to stay fit, like, integrated into your lifestyle and integrated into, like, gaming and streaming, because as we'll talk about today, that's one of, like, the hardest things for, I think, most people to do, is that mental hurdle, like, I don't want to go to the gym, or I can't afford a membership. It's like, I don't, I have a gym that's in my building and I've never used it. Like,
it's right there.
It's right there, free to use. And it's a mental thing to just, like, get yourself to the place of the gym. So I think that's really cool. So we could start with, let's start with, like, the basic is, like, what is being fit and being healthy, especially how does that, like, relate to someone that is sedentary or, like, a content creator that may not, get up as much as, like, a normal person?
It all kind of starts with how you manage your time and also your surroundings. A lot of times people dedicate long hours to, for example, playing lots of computer games. And there are still so many natural rhythms, but there are so many rhythms to a gameplay where you might get up to go to the bathroom, you might take a break for 20 minutes because you're tilted at the game. All these things where you could also start to do something else, and you can sort of ritualize that behavior of what you'll go and do for yourself. And also, a lot of times people actually own methods to get fit. They might have a pull-up bar mounted in their doorway. They might have a bench and dumbbells over in the corner that's covered in laundry. It's a matter of freeing up those resources and then creating a way that you actually
a routine. So
yeah,
habitualize it.
Yeah, finding the way to like, how do you actually do it, right? How do you actually fit it into your day? How do you make it happen? And so we start with those small wins of like, well, if you're playing a game, depending on the type of game, here's a good way you could work it in. For some people, that doesn't work. Some people need to go to the gym so that they're focused there and they actually do it. But I'm sure Tom has some great recommendations too.
Yeah, there is no one rule for all this, of course. Like as Nicole's saying, like you got to figure out what works for you. It's so the fundamental approach I take is, so you asked about what is healthy. My point of view is there's the 4 pillars of health. And as long as you're taking care of these 4 pillars of health, you're probably going to be healthy. Diet, like having your food kind of figured out. We can spend a lot more time on that. Exercise, having some resistance training going on, some kind of cardio going on would be ideal. And then sleep, getting enough sleep, and stress, not being overly stressed. So
stress management.
Yeah, exactly. So, but focusing on the exercise part, I think the rule that we're going for here is, or today's theme, we're all very busy people. And the main rule I will be focusing on is the 80-20 rule, which is just a little bit of effort will get you most of your results, which I think as busy people or people who want to game or whatever, we can get a lot done in those couple of minutes, like what Tim and Nicole are saying. It doesn't take that much time to get a little bit of exercise in there. So figuring out the plan that works for you, and either like if you want to work out between games, or you want to just have an hour set aside to go to the gym, both work. It's just a matter of I think one of the things that people get stuck on for like motivation and getting over that initial inertia is just the lack of knowledge. If you don't know what you're going to do at the gym, you don't know what exercise plan you're going to do, it's very intimidating. But if you already know, you know exactly, I'm going to do the XYZ movements. I've seen a ton of YouTube tutorials on how to do each of these movements. You suddenly feel way more empowered to actually execute the plan. And it's going to be way less intimidating.
That's the value of guidance there. I think that's, So what you guys are doing, you are the examples. You're living that life. You're, as you noted, playing games and taking dedicated specific breaks, and we can see that because that's what, as we watch.
Right, and we encourage people, like when we take our breaks, we're like, hey, follow along with us.
Yeah, right.
Like, we're doing this, you can follow along too, even if you just do a little stretch, a little something, even if you just stand up, like, something's better than nothing. We totally agree with what Tom says with the 80-20 rule. And I'm sure he'd say the same thing with diet or nutrition when we get there too. But like focusing on perfection too much just leads to failure usually, instead of just starting somewhere. Like
and that's in all manners of life too, right?
Totally.
That's not an exception.
Well, go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna. Nope, I lost it. I'm very easy to. I'm squirrel. Go on.
I guess I'll just say what I was going to say. The two types of people, or the two types of approaches tend to be, there's either the gung-ho, cold turkey. I'm just going to go in there and immediately, I've got the whole plan to Mondays when it's all going to begin, and it's going to go for X, Y, and Z amount of time. I'm going to do all these specific exercises. I'm going to do my cardio, all this. And then there's the approach of, I got to start doing push-ups, and I'm going to do push-ups every day. And those are both methods to get there, and you can always fine tune later. It helps to know what your personality is, how you like to attack problems in your life, what's worked for you in the past.
Yeah. What your goal is.
Yes.
Like a lot of times, figuring out like what is your goal, and I'm sure that comes up for Tom too. It's like, well, depending on like what's the best training, it's like, well, what is your goal? What are you working towards?
What do you want?
Yeah. What do you want? So.
Like context is so important for each person's life. Like
totally.
I have people coming to my stream, I'm sure for you too, is like they ask like, what's the best workout plan? Well, what do you want? Are you trying to like be a power lifter? Do you want to like just get physique? Are you trying to prepare for like a marathon? Like
the Olympics?
Most people though, I think most people in the nation, especially including gamers, I think it's safe to say the majority of our goals are to just get a little bit healthier, feel a little bit better, look a little bit better, and get something done at the gym. We don't know what, but we just want to look good and feel good. And for that, it doesn't have to be too complicated. I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's just what I feel like most most people's goals do boil down to for the gym.
Right.
And it's okay to say that. It's okay to say I want to look good, feel good.
Yeah,
But you tell anyone like these are the goals I want to go for.
Yeah. And I would also add that something that particularly for gamers and particularly for streamers who are streaming for long hours at a time, you also want to counteract the effects of sitting. Sitting for long periods. So that's why it's like, if you're just stretching a little bit, we like to say, doing hip flexor stretches, focusing on the posterior chain. So like your lats, your posture muscles, your glutes, the back of the body. Of course you want the front of the body to look good too, especially if you're streaming, but trying to counteract what is happening to your body when you're sitting for long.
Because that's something that's specifically neglected incidentally by virtue of the lifestyle.
Right.
It turns out when you look in a mirror, you can look over your shoulder and admire the back
What?
of your body.
I have a back.
So, like, what is the proper ratio for counteracting the effect of sitting? Is it like 2 minutes an hour? Like, is it stretching, doing actual movement, or is it just standing up?
It's I mean, it's always going to depend, because you could have wildly tight hip flexor muscles from a lifetime of it, and your job is also sitting, or you might just need to move around for kind of how long you've been sitting in that session. Somebody who's more fit and more well adapted to exercise is going to probably more quickly rebound back to health, rather than somebody who needs to actually create progress towards better flexibility in general and that sort of thing. So I would say a good rule of thumb is just if you're just starting somewhere, just pick out 1 or 2 stretches, set a timer, 5 minutes, and spend time on those stretches every day.
Or I mean, like, ideally you're getting up at least once an hour to just move around a little bit. We're big proponents too of how beneficial walking is in general. Like, just a little bit of walking every day. Like how beneficial that can be. Sorry, Tom, I want to let you get in there too.
Yeah, because I know I agree with what they're saying. Basically, like, we are not meant to be sitting all day. We're not meant to be standing all day. We're not meant to be lying down or walking all day. A combination of everything is better, because some people think like, oh, I'm sitting all day, let me just get a stand desk and stand all day.
Yes,
That's actually what I want to talk about, because I have a standing desk, and a lot of people are getting it now. So what is...
It's a good idea, but it's not like a Band-Aid fix, because you would actually, like, if for anyone who's gone from a sitting all day to standing all day, you will actually notice that you're kind of shifting the problem somewhere else if you're just standing all day with no breaks. Like, you're going to shift the problem from like your hips and your back to like your knees and your feet will hurt. Which one's worse? I mean, I think it's better to do a combination of both. Like, you're going to be sitting, you're going to be standing. I have a standing desk, right? Like, I'm standing right now, but I also have a treadmill desk. I have a DIY guide for $200 how you can make a regular sit desk into a ghetto treadmill desk. If you come by my channel, type !treadmill, I have a guide for that. So I think a combination of both, of all three, is ideal. But I do want to add one note on there, which is if you're sitting all day, posture, no matter what you're doing, posture is huge. Yeah. So you could probably, because you're asking about like what's the right ratio, and I agree with what Heroes of Fitness they're saying, which is it depends. And for example, if you have really bad posture, like, and you're sitting like that for many minutes at a time, that's obviously going to be way worse than having really good posture in sitting for a while. So figuring out what your posture is and like proper ergonomics for your desk, that's worth investing in, because we spend thousands on like amazing new PCs. I think it's worth it to spend like an extra $1,000 on a good desk and chair ergonomic setup. So there's plenty of guides online to look at ergonomics, like what's the right elbow angle, where should my butt be positioned, all that stuff.
Yep, to not make it worse.
How bad are these DX racers for your back?
They're
so not popular with streamers and then gamers.
It's style and not ergonomics.
I mean, when you boil it down, there are a lot of things that are being targeted towards gamers it's trying to attempt to create a lifestyle around it. But why can't the lifestyle just have good posture and have a healthy approach to it?
I support that lifestyle.
You don't necessarily need a gaming related energy drink. You could also drink water, and maybe it's all there. There's methods that the body ways the body likes to be treated already.
Yeah.
So
I really like what Tom said about like how people go from, they're like, well, I'm just going to get a standing desk and that's going to fix everything. And so what we always say is like, if you can get the adjustable desks that go up and down so you can sit for a while, do maybe more focus work, and then stand and do, depending on where you're more productive, but you kind of go back and forth between. But then in addition to that, you're still moving around a little bit, stretching, obviously getting some actual movement in, and then working on those posture muscles.
So we're talking about things that can be achieved while streaming, right? A couple of questions. One, what do you think about posture correcting apparatus? Things that you would put around you. Have you seen these? You put them around your shoulders, right? And they try and help guide. You leave it on for like an hour to 3 hours. I assume that you wouldn't recommend it as a replacement for actually trying to correct it yourself for long-term. Do you think that's like a decent Band-Aid, like a starting point for that?
I would like to chime in on that. When I was first getting started with health and fitness, when I was in my late teens, that was something that I was always curious in the back of my mind. I started doing all the standard kind of gym rat exercises, and I was always struggling with posture and my shoulders being pitched forward. And I kept thinking in the back of my mind, what if I just got one of those posture devices? And I have to say that is something, looking back, I wish older me would have just been like, no, look, you just haven't approached the problem right in the gym. You're still not hitting the muscles you need to be doing. Basically, true to form, I was doing a lot of bench press and a lot of military press and a lot and dips. And so it's like, those are all things that are just pitching my shoulders forward. And even though I'm getting more fit, it's still muscularly, the muscles up here were stronger and were pulling me out of alignment. So I would say that
you still have to work those muscles.
Yeah,
they have to know how to work.
You need to be working the lower traps, you need to be working lats, you need to be working your glutes and your hamstrings, and these things start to line the body up more appropriately. But I would say only go there if you've got a medical reason or a physical therapist is directed you that way. But there are plenty of exercises that are just not as common. People just don't know them as readily as the gym favorites. And I would say you got to start learning about lower trap exercises, rhomboids.
So that's still something that you want to take care of off stream then? Because I was thinking, when it comes to on stream stuff, that's easy enough to put on. But if it's not resolving the issue, and it's a waste of your money, it's a waste of your time, and you're, misguiding your own conception of how to correct your health. So when it comes to on stream stuff, what do you guys think are some like key principles or key elements that we should all kind of keep in mind and try and work into our rhythms? We were talking about habituation, which is in order to start down the road, you have to develop the habits in order to get everything lined up. And then everything becomes easy to an extent, significantly easier. So like, what are some things that we can do while on stream when it comes to diet? I have looked at 3 years of myself previously, just finding like just bags of trash food because it's easy. The corner store is right there, and then I pick it up, and then it's right here, and it's tons of calories, and it's delicious, and then I just continue to expand, and I do not feel good about myself. So like changing up diet, are there easy approaches to that when it comes to being on stream where you're stuck there, you don't really get your 30-minute lunch break? What other factors for on stream behavior and habits do you think we should look at?
I want to throw in a quick note about the posture thing. I agree with what Tim said. One thing that a lot of people do, this is a weightlifting belt. This is my weightlifting belt, branded, of course. We're streamers.
That's awesome.
Branded. So people think this is going to protect your back while weightlifting. This does not inherently protect your back. If you don't know how to brace your core properly, that's a whole long topic, but if you know how to brace your core properly, don't even buy one of these, because you should not be using this unless you have proper core bracing mechanics under control. The same thing for the posture device you mentioned earlier. Now, I do want to plug one exercise, because people might be wondering, like, okay, I'm hunched over all the time in front of the computer. This is me, T-Rex arms, like, I'm doing push-ups all the time. Face pulls. just look up this exercise later on. Face pulls is a fantastic exercise to throw in as a movement to kind of counteract a lot of the upper back hunching that we get. A lot of ways to do it, but face pull is my number one favorite. Now for the food stuff regarding you're stuck in front of the computer all day. Hunter, did I ever tell you about intermittent fasting? I can't remember.
Yes, we talked about that.
I think intermittent fasting is actually a dietary strategy. It makes a lot of sense for streamers. If you don't know what intermittent fasting is, all it is, it's not a magic fat loss tool. Some people proclaim it is. It's not. Basically, you're just shifting calories around throughout the day. So instead of having like 5 little meals, you would have 2 big meals, calorie equated. Streamers, we are just seated. We don't need a lot of calories, and we often are late starting our streams anyway. For a practical tip, just skipping breakfast and going straight into stream and then having a bigger lunch might be a more practical way to just reduce overall calories if you're worried about weight gain. The second tip would be just, you see me in my video posts on Instagram and Twitter, just vegetables raw, boom, don't even think about it, right? A fistful of spinach.
That was my college strategy.
Is that right?
So, eating like instead of bags of junk food, just buying bags of raw vegetables that are clean and easy to eat. Because right, like we don't want to get our keyboard and Meister to these. I don't want to. I'm kind of a clean freak about that. Like carrots, celery, broccoli, spinach. You can just eat that by the bag, and just while on stream, you don't have to think about it. It's basically like a bowl of chips, but it's very low calories and is very a way better nutrition source than chips, for example.
Yeah,
but
and that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with like the baby steps, right? Like you don't have to like go all out and do a perfect workout like routine and then like have this perfect diet. Like little changes, like instead of chips, getting carrots, like, instead of not working out at all, try like stretching 1 hour or once an hour, during your stream. And it kind of like all just will build up from there once you get like a small routine going.
Yeah. And something we were talking about this recently, and we tweeted this out about one thing that's really important for streamers. So especially if you have a really, really long stream, by the end of that, you're mentally exhausted and your decision-making is way down. So we always say, plan ahead. So like, even if you're going to get takeout or something after the stream, plan that ahead, make that decision. Like you want to make those decisions ahead of time before you're so fatigued that your willpower is gone. So that's why we say, if possible, plan a meal or 2 ahead, plan some healthy snacks that you can have with the stream, like Tom was mentioning, and then figure out what you're going to do in those situations. So just like, even if it's just 5 minutes of planning ahead of time can save you from making bad decisions later.
That's a fantastic point. So before the show, we were talking about very briefly survivalism. And one of the key qualities there is that you have to have the training and the planning, the ability to plan well in advance of being in the stressful situation, because you're incapable of making rational decisions when you're in incredibly high stress.
Yes.
That also tends to be true at even like moderate levels of stress. Mm-hmm. And once you're done with the stream and again, fatigued, and a lot of times looking at, as we are wont to do, your failures of the day, the things that you want to do tomorrow, the events that you have coming up, all of that can sometimes show up in your mind at the same time, and you're not thinking rationally.
And then it's
making
midnight.
those plans in advance. Fantastic idea.
To use an analogy there, it's like in survivalism, you want to build your fire and have it prepared way ahead of nightfall.
Oh,
you don't
God,
want to run
yes.
into problems after dark. You want to be warm and make sure you're going to survive the night early in the day.
Yeah.
So make your food choices early in the day.
Yeah, and with
that's fantastic.
I'll also jump in there about, I completely agree with the planning ahead thing. It's not for everyone's personality type, but hopefully you can make it work for you, because people ask me, how do you lose weight? And like the number one tip I always tell everyone, like if you're going to come to my stream, remember one thing, and your goal is, I want to lose weight, I want to gain weight, is to download the app MyFitnessPal. Get on your phone, is free.
Yeah.
It's basically a food tracker. And if you want to lose weight, just reduce your calories.
That's exactly what I did in January.
Yeah. Being aware how much, like just getting awareness of what you're actually eating, whether or not you're actually tracking the calories, it matters more of like actually looking at everything that you ate that day and realizing what that is. Because then that alone can make you lose weight, whether or not you're super, keeping focus on the macros or not.
It works just like an economic budget, a financial budget. If you have no idea how you're spending your money, it is mind-blowing how it just disappears. It evaporates. Same thing works for not understanding your input output, not understanding the context of your own diet. You can't really make better decisions if you don't have any information upon which to base that. Right? Just getting that knowledge for yourself is incredibly valuable. I've seen that in my own life twice. It's been huge.
Yeah. Now, what do you guys think about
to plan ahead for that? Like, what I wanted to say, like, plan out your meals, like they were saying. Use MyFitnessPal in the morning. Write out everything you're going to eat that day. Like, that's kind of the key takeaway: is you track it before you even eat it. Then that way you keep yourself honest when it's late at night and you're hungry, and you don't make decisions. Sorry, go ahead, Loco.
Keep accountability.
Yeah. So here's another like example of something that's a product that's popular that I see with a lot of streamers and gamers. Nutrition supplement drinks like Soylent. How are those for people that are just sitting around not moving?
I mean, I'm sure Tom.
Yeah, I'll open up on this. I don't spend too much time on this one.
Yeah.
Liquid. Okay, so humans have never before, like, no culture has eaten these kinds of liquid calories like for long term. So we really don't know. Yeah, exactly. Like, we really don't know what it's going to do to our health, overall gut health, all that stuff, if you're just drinking one Soylent a day for the next 10 years. We really don't know. There might be nothing wrong with it. I don't know. But as part of the precautionary principle, I prefer to try to have my food come from what my ancestors ate like. So
we definitely know the effects of that.
Yeah, which is good. It's so
you turn into a Greek statue.
Exactly.
I like that.
But is it bad to have a little bit of Soylent here and there? Like, you have a liquid meal because, like, oh, you know what, I'm low on calories, or like I don't have time because I screwed up. Yeah, I think it's fine. You have a little bit of Soylent here and there. But if like 80% of your calories is coming from that, I think that's a problem. You're setting yourself up for failure. Yeah,
totally agree with Tom. The other thing too is I think people think Soylent is a little bit more healthy than it is. If you're looking at what the breakdown is of it, it is meant to be a meal replacement. So it is very high in carbs and fats and not really as high in protein.
Yeah.
And so where you can get into trouble is if you're having that and then you're having meals in addition to that.
So again, it goes back to the budgeting thing. It's like, if you know where it fits into your overall diet, fantastic, just like any food item.
Yeah. And, as an emergency, like having some of those around, or like, we have protein bars, or we have other protein shakes that we just prefer that are higher protein and kind of less filler stuff. We have those around because, especially when we're traveling at conventions as a streamer, like, you want to make healthy choices. You want to make sure that you're not in a bad situation. So there are times and places for those, but, not relying on it for your, like, every day. I'd agree with
so there's one thing that I think is critical that I want to 100% make sure that we cover today from you guys. I really want your perspective on this. First, I mentioned this. I think we've all mentioned this repeatedly in small little snippets. The first step, the only way to get into this is to take a first step somewhere, and it's something that consistently we see as problematic in our subculture, but definitely in our industry, where it's rise and grind. It's you're responsible completely and inexorably for the success of your small business as a streamer, and you feel that immense pressure all the time to perform, and we find it very challenging to carve out time for even just fun stuff for ourselves, much less like self-maintenance and the things that'll actually make us more satisfied and happier and healthier in both the short and the long term. What kind of conception can we have, do you think, for generating the habits that in turn make it really easy for us to keep up with a really easy but healthy diet and regular and consistent working out and fitness? Like, how do we get past that first hurdle of actually getting in, settling down, creating the habits? How do we get past the first hurdle of finding the motivation? Because we're incredibly motivated in this one regard, but it seems to prevent us from getting motivated in these others. How do we make that? How do we take that first leap? I
think motivation is kind of a bad word in some cases
I
because
completely
motivation
agree.
is highly overrated.
And it comes in waves. Like
Yes.
you're not always going to be
Yep.
motivated. That's
Yeah.
Just like your
reality.
emotions.
Yeah.
Right. Just as, you're not always motivated to exercise, not always motivated to
We're
eat
not
healthy.
always motivated.
You're not always motivated to stream or play a certain game. Like it's always, there's always challenges. But the thing is, you got to use times when you're motivated to begin preparing and start creating your plan.
Actually capitalize on that.
Yeah,
Yes,
preferably write your plan when you're feeling the most motivated, and make it something that you don't BS yourself about how you're going to approach things coming up. A lot of times people just overestimate what their willpower level is going to be in the next 2 weeks.
They try to
So
do
that
too
honesty
much.
and self-knowledge.
Yeah. So apply your own wisdom of yourself and how you've behaved in the past when you write this plan, so that you know what, it's going to be a little hard for me. I'm sure there's going to be situations where I'm tempted on the weekends when I'm hanging out with friends. So I'll allot for that by maybe following the 80-20 principle throughout the majority of the week. I'm going to try and focus on 80% of all my food intake is going to be the highest quality, and I'll have that little 20% for the weekend when I might splurge a little bit or something.
Something I want to add in quick before we let Tom talk too is that having some accountability. So whether that is your community, whether that is a streamer like Tom or us or someone else in on Twitch, or whether it's hiring a personal trainer, or having a buddy that you're doing this with, finding what is motivating you. Because we know that if you feel better, if you're getting more sleep, if you're working out, you're eating healthy, you're going to perform better. You're going to be a better streamer. It just affects everything. It has a domino effect. So taking time for you, it's also going to prevent burnout, which is so real for streamers. And so setting that time for yourself, whether it's time with friends, time with family, time to take care of you, that is going to positively affect your career and everything else.
Yeah.
So, for the initial motivation stuff, I completely agree. Even though I call myself a motivational talk show, I usually break it down and talk about how it's really about knowledge is empowering, feeling empowered in knowing what you do, because the actual the emotions are fleeting. They come and go. Try, if you are motivated, like you guys already said, capitalize on that, because to build a habit, the ultimate goal should be, I want to build a habit so it feels normal. Because if it feels normal, it's no longer hard. Brushing your teeth isn't really hard. Maybe for some people watching right now, brushing your teeth is hard. But for most people, like filling gas or going to the grocery store, hygiene, it's normal. So going to the gym, you hang in there for 2 weeks to 2 months until that habit is built and it feels normal. So the question is, what do you actually need to do? How much time do you have? That's really to me, the most important part is to really sit down and think what is a sustainable amount of time to put in to the gym,
and being honest about how much time you have.
Yeah, exactly. If you really think you have 0 hours for the gym because you're a busy popular streamer like Loco or Hunter, then you know what? 0 hours that's reasonable. And you just have to figure out something else to work out from home. Maybe you got to buy some equipment, got to spend 20 minutes between streams or during your break or whatever. There's always something for someone. If you can spend 10 minutes a day, you can still get in a decent, push-pull legs bodyweight exercise program. You just got to figure out okay, so set aside the time. And of course, MyFitnessPal, that is such a huge, huge thing. MyFitnessPal, and then figure out whatever exercise you can do.
That's great.
I lost it again.
I can keep rambling for another minute.
That was so quick.
I wanted to say something. All right. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I think people need to be honest with how much time they actually have and what's a priority in your life. So we all have the same amount of time in the day. And no matter how busy you are, you've probably got 5 or 10 minutes. It needs to come from somewhere. Are you on your phone for an hour before bed or in the morning? Or where is there a little bit of time that you can cut out? Because the time is there. It's just, is it a priority in your life? So if you're making health and fitness a priority, which it should be, because there's been a lot of health scares in the news recently for streamers, and that's probably only going to continue because of how people push themselves.
And there are more and more streamers, so you're more likely to hear about that more frequently.
Yeah, but then on top of that, sleep is another big thing. I wanted to bring up how, Tom is a streamer. He works full time. He also has kids, so he can make time for it too. So there's always ways to sneak in a little bit of time to take care of yourself.
Fantastic example.
Yeah, and I think especially like for streamers, an interesting avenue is like you can incorporate some cool ideas into your stream. Like you don't have to, but so for me, like I'm raising money for St. Jude this month, and my community, for every $3 donated, I have to do a rep of exercise. I currently owe about 3,000 reps, with 3,000 done in the last 2 weeks. And I mean, it's got me motivated. Like I enjoy doing them. I'm doing a lot of jumping jacks, and I've actually seen the progress, and my community has followed along with me, seeing like, okay, now I can knock out 100 like jumping jacks at a time versus 50 in just 2 weeks. So there's also like games like Just Dance and stuff. Like
we do that. We love it.
You guys do that? Yeah. Like I really want to do that, and I think it's interesting because with streaming, it's gone from just playing video games to so much more that you can do, and so much more that people like to watch. There's definitely like workout streams and Just Dance and other creative avenues to get that exercise in while you're streaming.
Yep.
It's pretty nice.
I'm curious about that, about y'all's perspectives on, well, a couple of things. One, do you think it's safe and fair to kind of, for us as broadcasters, conceive of and equate fitness to money, since it saves us money in the long run, since it gives us points of conversation and content creation? And then the follow-up to that, based on the last part, is what content creation opportunities do you think exist for us? Because I think that can itself mitigate a lot of the problems we have starting down that road. If we can see, and I'm not sure that it's even fair and appropriate to conceive of it that way. That's why I wanted that to be the first part. But if we can see value in regard to the career, which we obviously find it really challenging to break away from, and that's like all we want to do all the time, is there a way to merge these? And do you think that that's a fair approach or problematic?
Well, I think fitness and health is always a moving target. So we always have to be pursuing it to some extent. Otherwise, it'll start to disappear. It'll leave us. So we have to make sure it's maintained. And I think there's always interest in people's
communities
who share what journey they're on and are actively showing what they're working on, what their goals are. And there's already an industry built on it. The fitness industry loves before and after stories and photos and seeing the results. But it's always important to remember that, a magazine cover, it was shot on one day. What happens to that person 2 weeks later, 2 months later, 2 years later, it still remains a moving target, even for these people that are immortalized on a picture. So you have to make sure that if you're going to make part of what, like, you're going to make your journey public, it's going to stay public, and people
will remind you of it. Like your community will be like, "Hey, are you doing that?"
Chat never forgets.
No, they never forget. I mean, I think that it can be really valuable for streamers to share that journey with them and to stream some of it. I think the only place where they need to be a little bit careful is, if sharing knowledge and making sure that they're not leading anyone else to getting injured, or like if people want to learn more, that they're not disseminating information that might cause harm to others. If they
don't feign expertise, like actually leave that to the experts.
Yes. So that's the only thing, I mean, that'd be the only
probably
thing.
True with everything. That happens with mental health too. It can be really easy for us to want to give advice based on our own experiences, but we're not necessarily equipped to do that in a way that could lead to damage and harm.
Right. But I think it still could be something that a lot of broadcasters could incorporate, whether it's just going for a walk, whether it's them doing some Just Dance or some stretching or some weight training, and however they want to incorporate it. I think the communities are going to love to follow along on that journey. So I don't know.
I was going to say, I agree with the don't feign expertise thing, because if you guys think backseat gamers are bad,
backseat training,
backseat dieters, backseat fitness, it's a whole other ballgame.
Oh God, it's so true.
It really is.
Like, it is so much worse to like try to talk about fitness and stuff. So like, if you frame it properly, as a like, I'm just a guy who's just, I want to work out and encourage other people to do the same. You're gonna combat less trolls, although your chat will probably combat each other because everyone thinks they have the one true diet, the one diet to rule them all.
Yes.
But the idea of, is it okay to like stream this? You're providing value. If you ask me, you're doing something that you like. It's good for you. It's a good. You're being a good role model for everyone. Why? And you're making money off it. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. So I think it makes sense to try to put that content out there. It's just live streaming health and fitness is such a new frontier for all of us.
Yeah.
That what is the final form? What is a good form? We don't. I think we're all it's evolving content. We still don't know. So at the end of the day, just like everything on Twitch, it has to provide entertainment value. It's got to be entertaining to watch for otherwise people wouldn't watch it. But I think there are ways to do it, Hunter, to incorporate it. So how you do that, that's, I mean, hey, if you figure it out, let me know. I'll copy
you and I have been talking about this for half a year now.
I would encourage anybody that's, for example, it's focusing on streamers here. I would encourage any streamer that's trying to get in shape in the background of their stream, talk about it and share that journey. How much you want to make it part of your actual stream is definitely up to you as a content creator. But it's like Tom said, you're a role model. You're showing that this is important to people, and streamers are people like everybody else. If the community sees these changes, it's going to inspire others. There's going to be conversations about it, and that's a very positive thing. It's always good to share what's going on in your life with your community.
I want to add one quick note about the role model thing. I was lucky that as a kid, my dad was into fitness. He would just like do bodyweight stuff at home. Looking back on it, it wasn't a very good plan. He wasn't very good at it, but just seeing it, it made fitness seem normal to me.
Yes.
And that is something that I think is really huge of an impact. Like we were saying with the role model.
Absolutely.
We make it seem normal to care about exercise and diet. And that's how society should be.
Yeah.
Normalize the positive traits and values.
Exactly.
Totally.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get into our Q&A here. We already have some questions gathered from you guys in chat. So if you guys have anything to ask us about today's topics, feel free to throw it in chat. We'll try to answer as many as we can. The first question is, are exercise balls any better or worse than a fixed desk chair?
We can answer that. So we're sitting on stability balls right now. And what we would recommend is that they are great, but they shouldn't be a total replacement because it does challenge your core. And if you have a weak core, it could fatigue your back. So we like to sit on stability balls kind of like you would sit on a horse. We sit on them while we stream most of the time. But if you're not used to it initially, you need to not use it all the time. So I would do a stability ball for maybe half an hour to an hour, and then either stand or maybe sit in a regular chair that has good back support.
Treat it like it is exercise. Your body's working while you're on the stability ball, so you can't do it forever. And Nicole and I will trade off switching into chairs when we're doing a long stream, and we also get up and move around. So it's not an ideal solution if you're just looking for something to sit at your desk forever. You got to have other things you do too. It's like Tom mentioned earlier. You don't want to be doing any one activity permanently, standing, sitting, etc. Sleeping.
I'm totally going to do this, by the way. That is now a checkmark note. Stability ball.
Yeah. The stability ball, I feel like right now is being marketed as this is the solution for your back problems of sitting all day. And it's not. Like they were saying, like it's a extra utility, but I would argue it creates like a fake safety net of like, oh, I'm being safe. Just like the weightlifting belt. If you're just wearing this without realizing what you're doing, you're going to make things worse probably. So I highly recommend that instead you research how to do posture. Invest in a quality office chair. A quality office chair is going to be way better for ergonomics. I caught my belt. That is why I'm like, all like so those are my thoughts on that. Educate yourself on proper posture at a desk, and then buy like a good office chair with all like the adjustable functions. Like $300, $400 for one of those.
Yep.
I thought you were fumbling around to pick up an office chair to bring on.
One-handed, just this chair. Next question: how can streamers maintain a good sleep pattern when their minds are on overdrive?
I really want to know this one.
Me too.
Oh, man.
Yeah. This is something that I'm still trying to figure out myself, actually, because I'm still noticing that my workout streams, they tend to be late at night, and I finish a heavy weightlifting session in like roughly an hour before I sleep, which if you read all the sleep hygiene research, that's bad. It's stupid. What I'm doing is stupid. I'm doing it anyway because I'm stupid, but I'm trying to make it work for me, and I'm still doing slight tweaks. I'm still doing little tweaks here and there, changing from a hot shower to a cold shower, changing my meal timing around this, changing what I'm reading right before bed, trying to I put my screen on, I filtered the red, filter out blue light, little tweaks here and there. At the end of the day, the research shows it's not smart. And what we're doing is not optimal. But if you're going to tell a CEO of a $1 billion company, you need to get 9 hours of sleep, he's not going to do that. If you tell a streamer who wants to grow their business and who is serious about trying to make this work, you tell them to get have really good sleep hygiene of no blue light exposure, nothing stimulating, they're not going to follow it. So ideally, we want to do this, yes, but practically try to check off as many of those check marks as you can, and just understand you're just going for the 80-20 rule, and you're not doing you're not in ideal health, but hopefully you're close.
Yeah, and treat obviously not everybody works out during streams or during gameplay, but treat maybe the latter portion. Maybe that's when you would switch to stretching, or stop playing so many competitive games later on when you get closer to when you're going to end your stream and then later go to bed. I find competitive games extremely stimulating mentally.
Yeah.
And I find myself going over things in my mind. And so it's the same as doing a workout just an hour before bed. I'm sure, Tom, you've experienced this. You're still kind of in the reps. You're still thinking of.
You're still pumped.
You're going through the technique. So it's you have to find ways to come down and calm down. And I think it's always a challenge based on how you feel each and every night. But I think reading is a great suggestion. I think
having some sort of bedtime routine, whether it's even just 5 minutes, and if you can ideally have it around the same time. I mean, we're not perfect either, but as much as you can kind of get some semblance, whether you're having tea or something to kind of something to bring you down a little bit, or using your gunner blue blocking glasses or whatever it is, to just a couple of those 5 minutes before bed, however long you can get it, to kind of wind down as much as you can.
So this is a surprising tip. Actually have a bedtime.
Yes.
What? I'm gonna write this down. Hold on.
It's bizarre how few of my friends have a bedtime.
Right.
And mine's kind of ambiguous. I have a 3-hour window.
Right.
3-hour window.
Especially when you work from home and you
exactly.
You're your own boss, right? So it's just I'm the same way. I go to bed when I'm tired. But I tend to wake up at the same time every day. So I kind of naturally have my own bedtime. But I would say also just staying off your phone, stay off social media. But if you're planning on going to bed soon, because that tends to
social media for sure.
Especially Twitter, you're just scrolling, and that keeps your mind awake. But yeah, that is a really good question. Next question is, what would be a good set of beginner exercises? To start their fitness path, including those with injuries, if possible.
So my general rule of thumb for if someone is listening to this right now and they have zero time, they just want the bare minimum of activity to do. Any good workout program, I think, would include some kind of push movement, some kind of pull movement, some kind of leg movement. So push-ups, we all know. Squats, bodyweight squats, you can do those. Research good form on that, because most people I see who do bodyweight squats have bad form. Just look up tutorials. And then pull. That can come from a pull-up bar. You do pull-up negatives. If you can't do a single pull-up, you get resistance bands. You could do rows, get some dumbbells, do some rows. Basically $20-$30 of equipment to do the pull movements. Yep. Do that. Throw in some planks. Everyone loves abs, right? Do some bicycle crunches and some planks, because everyone likes to do abs. That's it. And do that as just basic beginner exercises. That could be really fast. That could be 10 minutes. You just go 3 sets of each, one into the other. And then progression. At the heart of any good program also is there has to be some kind of progression where you're doing more weights, heavier weights, doing more reps, doing more sets. That's kind of the big picture thing. Just don't expect to do the exact same thing the rest of your life. Big picture, there needs to be some kind of progression built in. That's all I wanted to say on that. Go ahead, guys.
Honestly, that's all that needs to be said. Nicole and I completely agree on all points of that, because you need to be doing pushes and pulls. Push-up is a great starting point.
Which if you can't do it with standard push-up, wall push-ups, push-ups from the knees, like you can always modify things. Same with squats. If that bothers your knees, do a box squat. Like there are so many progressions. Same thing with like start really easy and progress from there. It does not have to be the most advanced version of the exercise.
Progression is incredibly important. Like Tom mentioned, you kind of, in the beginning, everything it's just kinesis. It's just movement. But you kind of go through the hourglass and eventually you realize, oh, I'm doing these movements because they're building up to something more. And so you need to create a trail of breadcrumbs with the movements you're doing that leads to you becoming stronger or a better athlete, or you know, you might start with just doing a knee push-up, but later on, maybe you're doing decline push-ups, maybe you're doing one arm push-ups, maybe you're doing handstands. So it's things that you want to have in the back of your mind, that there's a purpose to what you're doing. It's not just to move.
The one thing I just want to add really quick too is we'd add in just a little bit of stretching. So stretching out those hip flexors if you sit a lot, stretching the hamstrings, maybe the thoracic spine. And then we're big proponents again of walking. So if you can even go for a short, like 10-minute walk, 20-minute walk, outside is even better if you're getting some vitamin D from the sunlight and some nature. That can actually be a huge mental health.
Massive.
And just like make you feel so much better, relieve a lot of stress, just going for easy leisure walks, not like power walking, just leisure walks.
That's one of the big ones that I always come back to for stress relief for broadcasters before you stream.
Or treadmill desk. My channel, go to my channel, !treadmill desk. It's a very ghetto $200 treadmill desk, DIY. So that's an option too.
Awesome.
Oh, and the person asked about injuries, but I feel like injuries are so specific to case by case. Like I can't touch on that here. Come by my channel, I can talk about it maybe.
Yep,
I do like the comment on progression, because like being able to like see your improvement really does help motivate you to continue.
Yes.
Like, okay,
absolutely.
Now I can do from knee push-ups. Now I can do one real push-up, but hey, like, you know, that's one more than, you know, so it's like, it's really cool to see that stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is it better to do a continuous, let's say 15-minute workout, or can the same results be achieved with, let's say, a 2-minute workout per hour?
Depends on what your goal is.
Always depends.
Yep.
I would say
I was about to say the same thing.
If your goal is strength, you can have very long rest periods and just keep doing strength exercises the entire day. Every hour, every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes, you can do a set of push-ups on the hour, every hour, if that's your goal. But
we're on my stream where I take like 15-minute rest periods sometimes. Like it's how long they are. But I completely agree so far. Sorry, go on.
If your goal is fat loss, that's going to need more consolidated work periods where you're actually challenging yourself and creating a metabolic effect where your body then is using a lot of energy. And there's a lot of come down period after where your body is still kind of running hot, like you physically are putting off a lot of body heat. That kind of exercise is more ideal for fat loss. And then if your goal is to build muscle, you need a very condensed, usually rep ranges are more like 6 to 12 reps rather than strength. You can do 1 rep, just do 1 push-up. So it's all in rep ranges and what you want to accomplish. Yeah. But I would say
what your goal
is. If your goal is bodybuilding, hour-long workouts, probably your way to go. If your goal is just working on fitness, working on strength, spread it out, do what's realistic for you, and I'll let you guys chime in.
That's all I wanted to say, because pretty much agree with everything you said. If your goal is to get like conditioning, like you want to be a better athlete, then you should, like you said, don't do like the 1 hour rest periods. But yeah, that's the only caveat I wanted to mention, or just detail I wanted to go over.
Awesome. Great answers. We have just a few more questions we'll try to get to. When training strength, understand that you want to push yourself and that fewer reps with heavier weight is good. What would be the ideal range of reps to do to know I'm using the right weight?
So I'll jump in on this one because I do a lot of the barbell training here, lifting a lot of fake weights. But basically, if you look at, unless you're trying to be a power lifter, don't obsess too much over the percent of your 1RM and the exact rep range. The evidence-based fitness folk that I like to follow, Eric Helms, Brad Schoenfeld, these guys, they basically have shown that as long as you do the set close to failure, if your rep range is anywhere from like 3 reps in a set to 20 reps in a set, it's about the same for hypertrophy and almost strength. There's a slight caveat there. But again, if you try to be a power lifter, that's different. But if you just want to build some muscle, build some strength, rep range, anywhere between 3 to 20 reps. This is very broad for a reason. Just push close to failure. Don't go past failure where your form falls apart, but just go pretty close. Push yourself, follow a progressive scheme where over time you are progressing somehow, either weight, reps, or sets.
As a general rule, it's important to kind of keep a rep in the bank, a couple reps in the bank, so to speak. Don't go completely to failure. Know that you have a little bit more, and then next workout or over time, like, okay, I'm going to push into that extra banked rep. I'm going to see if I can do it. And then you can adjust your program based on those changes.
Awesome. Next question says, I was wondering, without naming names, are there any exercise routines or forms you've seen on streams that you would advise against or were done wrong? Maybe
Poorly done bodyweight squats. Like if you come by my stream, I could show you proper form for bodyweight squats, but like I just see things like their feet are pointed too straight forward, and like they have knee cave going on. They aren't hitting depth. They're going too shallow. I'm not a big fan of that stuff. That's probably the biggest thing that I see on streams.
I think the only thing, and I mean, not so much on streams. We do a lot of kettlebell training. We're certified kettlebell instructors. So we get asked about CrossFit a lot, and they're just to cover that really quick. There's a lot of awesome CrossFit boxes out there. And then just like anything, there's some not so great ones. We're big proponents of technique, so you're not getting injured, doing things right. So with kettlebell swings, a lot of people can do that wrong. Kettlebell swings is like one of the best, well, in our opinion, fat loss exercises, great power exercise, works, posterior chain, the hips, the legs, the glutes. So we see that done wrong a lot, but that's just, I mean, there's always things that are going to be done a little bit wrong. It's just, we care a lot about doing things safely.
Yeah.
So you're not getting injured.
And I think a lot of people overestimate how good their push-ups look. Film your push-ups from the side. A lot of people are doing mountain or valley. It's the PE class.
Or like
classics.
the neck.
Yeah. With your head.
This is another point where the guidance is really valuable. Having somebody with their eyes on to be able to tell you where, because you aren't seeing that unless you've already gone through it and experienced it and know where the right thing lies and how that feels. Somebody else with their eyes on telling you where that form is all messed up.
Actually, I think that ties into, I see the next question, Loco. Is that okay?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, it's just
spoiler alert. Jeez.
Well, the question was, would it be worth the money to hire a personal trainer for a few sessions to just learn how to do exercises safely? And we're kind of talking about that right now. Yes, it really is. You can learn a ton from YouTube. But if you're only going to one YouTube channel, get varying opinions. Do your research, check out a lot of people, because you don't want to just follow one person. Like, we would say that to us too. Like, check out, there's a ton of great fitness streamers on Twitch, and we encourage people to go check them out, because you want to be learning different things. You want to be getting an idea. But the best thing about a trainer is that they can make sure you're doing it correctly. They can make sure you're doing it safely. If you have any injuries, they can address that in person. And then it's extra accountability, like, to make sure you actually work out, to find something that works for your schedule, your lifestyle, what your goals are. So there's a lot of value. If you can't afford to go longer, it is worth it, I think. I mean, we're biased, but like, even
so just
one session.
At least get a few sessions in, hopefully, to have that initial guidance, and then you can take it from there.
And emphasize how much technique matters to you and safety, because
and you wanting to learn.
Teach me.
Getting a good sweat is cute, but you want to make sure you're doing things right for the rest of your life.
Sure.
I want to touch on that too. If you don't have the money for a personal trainer, record yourself. Get your phone. We're in the digital age now. It is so cheap, so easy to get feedback. Just stream it. Just like do what I do. Very practical for anyone. Get at least 5 webcams so you can just like check your form all the time. But really, it's okay to ask someone at the gym, like, hey, I want to check my form, my bench press, or my bodyweight squat. Could you just like record me really quick? Hopefully they don't run away with their phone. But you get that, and then compare it against, like, find some good videos online, right? Like we're talking about. Again, if you come by my channel, I could talk a lot about different resources. I can spend a lot of time on that. But also for the personal trainer part, I'm sure Tim and Nicole would agree on this. There's a huge variation between good trainers and bad trainers.
Yes.
So many, any profession, there's plenty of people who have no idea what they're doing, yet they're a professional. So do some research before you go talk to them. Get your best money's worth. Do some research about different training programs that are out there. Look at what the goal is. Is this one going to get me stronger? Is this going to build more muscle? Is this going to be good for like conditioning, marathon running, whatever? Figure out what you want to do. Have a good idea, and then go find a personal trainer and talk to them. Like, are you familiar with this program? This is what I'm interested in doing. Can you check my form on this? Do you even lift? That's funny, but that's a serious question. Because like, if you are going to be wanting to do deadlifts and squats, you should ask them, like, are you like, do you personally do deadlifts and squats?
Right.
Because if you don't ask them that question, they may, like, without telling you, be like, this one program, there's a lot of squatting. Let's just do this for leg press instead. The real reason is because they're not comfortable with teaching it. And if you just ask them up front and quiz them on it, then you can figure it out, like, okay, this is probably not a good fit. I do want to say one thing about injuries too. On this note, people are asking about injuries and pre-existing issues. I think just like finding a really good doctor or a really good personal trainer or whatever, or a really good fitness stream like these two right here, finding a physical therapist who does weightlifting is probably one of the best things, or if your goal is weightlifting anyway. A physical therapist who does weightlifting, that is probably one of the best ways to overcome whatever injuries or mobility problems you have. And again, same thing applies. When you call their office, it's okay to ask them who there lifts, bro. Be nice about it, but find out who there is comfortable doing deadlifts or squats or whatever movement or programs you want to do, and then just request that person specifically.
Yeah, so advocate for yourself. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions, and like, get second opinions, as we always say.
You have the control. You have the power to make that, to invest properly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's gonna wrap it up, guys. We're gonna do some social media shout outs here. Thank you guys. Holy crap. I need to rewatch this episode. And I feel like there's been so much great information here, like not only for streamers, but just like general basic new fitness tips for a lot of us who are just like, just sedentary. So Tomination, where can we find you on the interwebs?
Twitch.tv/TominationTime. That's the main place I'm at. I'm streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday nights around 8 to 11 Pacific Standard Time. And then an EU-friendly stream on Tuesday, Thursday mornings from around 8 to 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I do a quick workout here. So yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday nights, Tuesday, Thursday mornings, California time.
Awesome. Tim, Nicole?
You can find us at twitch.tv/Heroes of Fitness, and on Twitter, I'm at Heroes of Fitness. Nicole is at
Nicole Duquesne. Yeah. And then we stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the evenings. We do our gameplay streams where we incorporate workout breaks at 7 p.m. Central Time. So in about 2 hours from now. And then actually this Friday, we're going to be doing a Just Dance stream. Funny you brought that up.
Yes. Oh my God, that's awesome.
And then we do a longer stream on Saturdays where we play more of an action adventure RPG. We do yoga breaks and stretching. During the week, we do more strength training and conditioning. And then we have a cooking and meal prep stream this Sunday. So if you want to learn some tips on some healthy eats and how to prep for your week, we do that this Sunday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What about you, Loco?
I am on twitch.tv/Loco. Gonna be playing some State of Decay 2 this week, and I play everything over there. You can find me at twitter.com/Loco2525. And Hunter, go ahead.
I am sometimes disgustingly active on Twitter. Be warned if you're going to ring the bell, because you may get alert. You can find me at the Hunter Wild TV on Twitter, and on Twitch at twitch.tv/the Hunter Wild. I stream a variety of games. We do big launch events, so whenever there's some big AAA title that comes out, usually doing 12 hours a day, 3 days in a row. Part of why this is a really important show for me. Lots of factors that play into that. And right before we go, I wanted to see if you guys had 30 seconds apiece for some really quick recap, core principles, stuff for us to keep in mind as kind of closing notes.
Tom, go ahead.
All right, thanks for putting me on the spot first. So when it comes to weight loss or weight gain, calories matters most. Don't believe if someone says calories doesn't matter, don't listen to them. They're full of BS. Calorie reduction for weight loss matters most. Get the app MyFitnessPal. Seriously, if you're struggling with weight loss, get MyFitnessPal right now. Stick to it. For weightlifting, resistance training, at-home stuff, progression. There has to be some form of progression, big picture, more weights, more reps, more sets, and patience. CPP, calories, progression, patience.
Nice.
I would say, regardless of your gender, you still want to be doing some sort of resistance training. This is something that has come up on this talk a couple times. Resistance training is very important. It can help a lot of the ails of sitting, being sedentary. And also, if you're not going to do anything else, at least go for some walks and dust off the bench and the weights. Make sure they can be incorporated into your day. Don't just walk past them. Don't just duck under the pull-up bar you mounted in the doorway. Start using it, and maybe make a reminder on your phone, and don't ignore it, because that'll just become a habit. Oh, there's the reminder. I'm just going to ignore it.
Another habit building thing.
Just do it. Just begin.
Mhm.
So,
well, the perfect workout, as I want to say, is the workout that you're actually going to do, the one that you'll enjoy. So find that first. Start there. We believe in start small with the habits, whether it's just drinking more water, cutting out one soda, adding in one vegetable a day. Start small and build from there, because you want to get those small wins under your belt so you're not feeling like a failure, and because you gotta start somewhere, and especially with streaming long hours. Plan ahead as much as you can, even if it's just a little bit of planning goes a long way.
Right, or throw this all out the window, get a gym membership, look up an awesome program online, and then just go hit the gym.
Yeah.
Since
great.
the
Thank
two
you
of them
guys.
got 30 seconds times two.
You
And you know what? There's so much to unpack and talk about. Come to one of our streams, and we spend we spend a huge part of our streams talking. My entire stream is just Q&A. Like I lift a lot of styrofoam weights here, and I act like they're heavy. They're not, because they're hollow. But we spend a lot of time talking about these things, so you can get a lot of follow-ups from both of us.
Yeah.
Right.
Go
I mean,
watch
like
them. Go watch them.
that's exactly, like that's the beauty of Twitch. Like you don't have to go and look at YouTube videos. You can literally just ask direct questions to these guys at any time. So definitely make sure to follow them, because they're giving out like free advice to you guys. It's pretty valuable. So guys, thank you again so much for coming on to the show. It's
Wonderful
been
show.
fantastic.
Honored to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
been
down for a future. If there's more you want to do in the future, I'm definitely down and open for that.
Yes, absolutely.
We do a part 2 with more questions.
We will probably need a part 2. There's so much good information here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We'll be back next week at 5 p.m. If you guys are new here, definitely make sure to hit the follow button on the Twitch channel. We do 3 shows now, so I'll actually be here tomorrow doing the Stream Doctor at 4 p.m. So if you want your stream reviewed by me and personalized feedback, definitely make sure to tune in tomorrow. And follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/StreamerSquare. And last but not least, check out the website for more information, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a wonderful week, guys. We'll see you guys soon on the stream scene.
Good night, my friends.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.